Welcome back to Redbird Domination. It's Dom. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about everything that occurred in the US Open, along with how it affected the world rankings and FedEx Cup. We will cover the people who played surprisingly well, and we will also cover this US Open, and also we will cover some news that was recently released. But before we get into it, like and subscribe, or I guarantee you that you will start playing golf so poorly that Helen Keller will ask you why you're playing like a dead horse. So first of all, congratulations to Wyndham Clark for winning his second US Open. Not many people do that. He played some really good golf, and he's probably now in a pool of money. But poor Sam Burns. I mean, he played some really good golf, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. Personally, I feel like he's going to win a major in the next few years or something similar to that, like the Players or even just the FedEx Cup. But let's dive into the first day of the tournament. Day 1, the scoring average was 73.35. All 156 golfers were playing. Midway through the first round, Jason Day pulled out with a back injury. He was 7 over after 10 holes and clearly showing signs of pain, so I hope he heals quickly and properly. Wyndham Clark shot a 64 on the first day, and this really gave him the ability to win this tournament. Dustin Johnson finished in second after the first day with a score of 4 under, 66, including a double bogey on hole 6, meaning he would have been tied if he hadn't made that double. Matt Fitzpatrick and Gary Woodland finished day 1 in third with a score of 3 under. So that was day 1, and it seemed like a crazy start with how low scores had gone, but on day 2 things got weirder. On day 2, Joaquin Niemann and Colin Morikawa both shot the low score of 65. Morikawa got himself to 2 under, putting himself in sole of 6. Niemann had shot a 78 on day 1 after making an 11 on hole 6 due to a 2-stroke penalty after throwing a club. Day 2 scoring average was 72.24. The scoring average was 72.24, which was 1 stroke better than day 1. Clark led the field at 7 under, shooting a 69, which gave him a 4-shot lead. Moving on to day 3, Grillo had the low round of 3 under, which kind of proved how hard he was playing. He and Scheffler were the only 2 golfers who finished under par on day 3. The scoring average for the day would have been a lot higher if the entire field was playing, but it only finished at 73.61 because there were only 72 players playing at this point. Clark shot a 70, extending his lead to 6 strokes because of how hard it played. Golfers like Matt Fitzpatrick, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Ludwig Oberg, and more played poorly because of the challenging conditions. Lastly, day 4 proved to be difficult for those on top and easy for those at the bottom. It was the easiest out of all 3 days, playing at 71.39. Joaquin Niemann, Peter Uihlein, and Ludwig Oberg had the low rounds of 66. Sam Burns chased down Clark, but his effort was 1 stroke short. He reached 4 under after hole 8 by making a 40-footer, but went 1 over from there. Grillo, Keegan Bradley, Sahith Theegala, and Matt Fitzpatrick all shot at least 3 over after being at least 2 over and somewhat in contention. The final top 10 were this: Wyndham Clark at 4 under, Sam Burns 3 under, Tom Kim 1 under, JT Poston, Scotty Scheffler, and Keith Mitchell even, Joaquin Niemann, Gary Woodland, Tyrrell Hatton, and Sam Stevens 1 over. Now let's quickly talk about those who played surprisingly well. The first players who included are Tom Kim, JT Poston, and Keith Mitchell. Poston has been on the rise lately. He won the Memorial Tournament 2 weeks ago and continues to improve. Mitchell has looked very good and risen through the world rankings as well. But Kim is an absolute surprise. We know that he can get it going, but we have seen him struggle in the last 2 years of golf. Suddenly though, he came out of nowhere and finished 3rd. Woodland also did really well, and that was sort of a surprise, as well as Niemann. John Perry finished tied for 11th at +2. Okay, so now moving on to the top 50. As you can see, Clark and Burns raced up the rankings with great finishes. What is really weird in my opinion is that Aaron Rai finished tied for 11th and fell 2 spots. Also, you see golfers like Keegan Bradley and Victor Hovland who haven't had a great year whatsoever. They've both fallen from the top 15 to 30th and 38th. So moving on to the FedEx Cup rankings, we're going to cover the top 30 and how things moved around. Some surprising names are in those top 30, and it begs the question of why are golfers like Schauffele falling severely from the end of last year to now, even though they've done well. Schauffele started 4th in the world this year, and now he's fallen to 14th. Xander has had a lot of good finishes this year, but it doesn't seem like he's getting a lot of credit. What I really think is that he's getting top 10 or top 20 quite a bit, but not too many top 5. Golfers who are surprisingly outside of the top 30 include Hideki Matsuyama, Robert McIntyre, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Jordan Spieth, who's 50th, Shane Lowry, who's 54th, Victor Hovland at 56th, Jason Day at 65th, and Keegan Bradley all the way down at 76th. Okay, as I was finishing the script for this video, I saw the huge announcement from the PGA Tour, so let's get into that and then we will be done. So the PGA Tour has announced that there will be a new model on tour consisting of the PGA Tour Championship Series and the Challenger Series. Golfers automatically get elevated by winning twice on the Challenger Series. The Championship Series will consist of up to 24 events, including 16 signature events, the Players, the 4 Majors, the Ryder Cup / President's Cup, and the season-ending event. Each one will have to have a purse of at least $20 million. The season will run from February to August, likely starting with the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. The fields will contain up to 120 players. At least the top 90 players in the point series for the Championship Series will be retaining their cards for the next year. Another 20 will be promoted from the Challenger Series, meaning that every year, at least 110 will be part of the Championship Series. The Tour's new structure will use a single consistent point structure designed to reward winning, give attention to top finishes, and reinforce the importance of making the cut, creating clear and competitive storylines throughout the year. Majors will have elevated points in future seasons. There are currently 8 signature events on tour, and the PGA Tour has said that they have already identified 10 of its 15 championship regular season tournaments. They are also trying to target bigger cities as they have larger markets and crowds, including Denver, Washington, D.C., Boston, New York, San Francisco, Seattle, Philadelphia, and more. They want these cities to fill out the last 5 spots and are trying to find appropriate courses. The Tour Championship will be continued at East Lake in Atlanta for this year and next year, but they plan to alternate it around to courses that the Tour has never targeted before. Unsurprisingly, players will only be allowed to compete on one or the other, not both. However, the Players' Championship will allow qualifying. Getting into the Challenger Series, it will consist of at least 20 events. About 7 elevated Challenger Series events will be played during off weeks in the Championship Series. There will be more points during these events, but also more consequences. Each event will have a purse of at least $4 million, and the field will have up to 144 people per tournament, including amateurs, but might be reduced in numbers because of daylight. Going back to the Championship Series, golfers who fail to retain their card at the end of the season will be given a last chance series after the season ends. It will include 4 to 6 events in the fall. Any golfer who fails at this will be eligible to play on the Challenger Series. So to summarize, the PGA Tour is basically making themselves a sort of interesting Premier League. That finishes up our summary for the US Open as well as the World Rankings, FedEx Cup, and this wild new thing the PGA Tour is doing. I hope you guys have an amazing day and liked this video. If you did, press the like button because I told you to. I have some more videos on some golf history and facts that I'm going to be making in the future. But if you want to learn more about that kind of good stuff, go ahead and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subs by the end of summer, and I've been grinding lately. Oh, and something I just want to make very clear, I made a new logo. I made a post about it. If you want to go vote on it, go ahead. Dominate the day, and God bless.